Dr. Missick, and I've been working on this series on the Book of Enoch. We have Robert Farrell who discusses with us apocryphal texts, and he focuses on Enoch. And a lot of people have questions about the Book of Enoch. What's it about? And I've been reading through it again. It's an interesting book, and it is controversial. And I think that in this book especially, I think that we need to be respectful of different points of view. And as I said in other lectures on this issue, you have, so we're looking at as an important piece of ancient literature that was culturally significant, theologically influential at the time of Jesus. I'm not saying that it belongs in the Bible or that it's literally true, but it was significant. We're studying that culture of the first century. And then people just lose it. Just this irrationality, fear, and hostility about the Book of Enoch. It's like, okay, let's look at it. Let's look at what it is, what it's about. And while I was doing this study on Enoch, and I got three parts I'm working on right now. Actually, this is probably going to be a series. This first volume is the Lost Scrolls of Enoch. And I'm going to do more parts to it. The next little volume, or chapter, if you will, is going to be about Enoch is in the Bible. So that's one of the problems, is the controversies about the notion of the Watchers and the Nephilim, what that means. The sons of God beheld the daughters of men, they were fair, and they had children by them, and it's because it's very controversial. But that is in the Bible. It's in Genesis chapter 6. How do you interpret that scripture? And then I have this version of the New Testament translated by a Greek Orthodox scholar. I think his name is Hart. It's David Hart. And he has a lot of copious notes and commentary on the Book of Enoch. And the Book of Enoch states, where did, we've got angels, and we have demons. Where do the demons come from? What are they? And the understanding is that demons were disembodied spirits of the Nephilim, basically. I think if you ask most Christians about it, and this is the thing, the Bible is not clear about what demons are, actually. It's not even clear about the fall of Satan. There's probably the most people interpret scriptures about the king of Tyre or the king of Babylon as, it's not really about the king of Babylon, it's not really about the king of Tyre, it's about the fall of Satan. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. The only place we really talk, you have the red dragon in the book of Revelation. His tail takes a third of the stars, which is like a third of the angels falling with him. But that's something I want to talk about in greater depth, where the evil angels and the demons came from. In the Book of Enoch, the fallen angels, the fallen watchers, because you have the watchers are an order of angels. Not all of them fell. There's holy watchers, but you have these fallen watchers. And the idea is that in the Book of Enoch is that these fallen angels are imprisoned. They're imprisoned in Tartarus, a place, a region in hell. So I'm going to have three parts of this. Part one is this series, Lost Scrolls of Enoch, looking at the Book of Enoch, which is a composite book. It's got, depending on how you count it, it's got different volumes, book 1, book 2, book 3. And of course, we're going to have Enoch is in the Bible, not just looking at the story of the Nephilim from Genesis, but numerous places where the Book of Enoch is alluded to are actually quoted from the New Testament. And then I'm going to have I've talked about this before, Enochian Judaism, and it's from a chapter in this book, Enochian Judaism, and it's something I hadn't really thought of before. And I've mentioned this, it's something that's really a formative period in Judaism was Ezra and Nehemiah, and Ezra bringing the Torah to the people, which had been lost, and how the Jewish people reacted to that. And there's this theory of, what's her name? Barker, Margaret Barker, The Lost Prophet, the Book of Enoch and its influence in Christianity. So she talks about this is a primitive form of Judaism, and this form of Judaism was not Torah-centric. The Enochian Judaism, it's like, let's go to a more primitive state. Let's go to somebody, instead of having their form of Judaism centered around Moses, they centered their religion around Enoch. And it was not, as a form of Judaism that was not Torah-centric. It's very interesting. And she writes this, I don't know if I agree, but she's a very brilliant writer. Her book is very, there's very thought-provoking, very interesting and profound, but I don't know if I agree with all of her ideas, but it is interesting to look at Enoch. And say, what is Enoch? If this is your sacred, if this is your equivalent of the Torah, how is it different from the Torah? How is it similar to the Torah? But well, let's look at what she says here. Well, you have the idea of the origin of evil coming from fallen angels. The second, it's like the absence of first Enoch form or parallels to specific laws and commandments found in the Mosaic Torah, and of references to issues like Shabbat observance or the rite of circumcision. The Sinaitic covenant and Torah are not of central importance in the Book of Enoch. It does allude to the giving of the law, but it's not of central importance. And I think that one thing about the Book of Enoch is it's more of a universal message, because with circumcision, dietary requirements, you have this focus on the people of Israel, while their ancestor Abraham, and the patriarchs, where Enoch actually has a more universal message for all mankind, because he's everybody's progenitor, right? Because he's the forefather of Noah. This is it's very significant. I talk about this more in depth in other videos, and I'm going to have a booklet focusing on that, gleaning some ideas from Barker's book, but looking at certain things that, from a different perspective. So we have the Book of the Giants, which I talked about. We have the Book of Watchers, and the thing about the Book of Giants, I talked about this in an earlier lecture, is when they found the Dead Sea Scrolls, they found several copies of the Book of, this is Bingo the Cat. They found several copies of the Book of Enoch. And not the complete copy. There is stories, which I have a feeling might be true, that there was, like you have the Great Isaiah Scroll, like a almost entirely perfectly preserved, intact book of Isaiah that's found on the Dead Sea Scrolls. A lot of the Dead Sea Scrolls are fragmentary. But there's an urban legend, I don't know what you call it, that John Strudel, one of the translators of the Dead Sea Scrolls, has passed away, that he was able to someone's trying to sell the complete Book of Enoch. It would be very fascinating to have it. Especially, the question is, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit, is the Son of Man prophecies. And Jesus called himself the Son of Man, and in the Book of Daniel and the Book of Enoch, we have a messianic figure called the Son of Man. So this is probably pre-Christian, first century book, the Book of Similitudes, I think. But some people look at it and say, well, it sounds so much like Jesus. Maybe a Christian wrote this and inserted it into the Book of Enoch. But the early church fathers said that the Jews were moving away, according to them, they were moving away from using the Book of Enoch because of the messianic prophecies that seem to be referring to Jesus of Nazareth. So that indicates that, during the apostolic fathers and the early church fathers, that section was already in the Book of Enoch. So when they found the Dead Sea Scrolls in Qumran, they found parts of the Book of Enoch. They found the Book of Giants, which is apparently a part of the Book of Enoch that was lost. The Book of Enoch in its entirety is preserved only in Ethiopic, a form of Ethiopian called Ge'ez. There's a large fragment in Greek of the first section of the Book of Enoch. It's found in Egypt. There's also a Latin fragment. There's small, short quotations in Aramaic or Syriac. But the only complete copy we have of the Book of Enoch is in Ethiopia. And So that reputed complete copy of the Book of Enoch would be of great historical significance. It's probably all in Aramaic, but it's maybe it's just like I said, just an urban legend. So we have the Book of Giants. I talked about that in another earlier lecture. And it was found in a fragmentary state in the Dead Sea Scrolls. But there's also the Turfan Oasis, which was a cave in China filled with scrolls, including the Nestorian Jesus Sutras, Manichaean literature, and the Book of Giants, the Ethiopic Book of Giants. Probably a Manichaean version. But if you compare and contrast the Manichaean Book of Giants to the Dead Sea Scrolls, Qumran Book of Giants, we're able to reconstruct the Book of Giants, but I'll talk about that in a different lecture. Now let's continue with the Book of Giants. I'm going to close with this. And then the next section is going to be the Son of Man prophecies. Hearing that doom was pronounced against them, the watchers asked Enoch to intercede for them before God. Because the people are oppressed, they cry out to heaven, and the angels intercede before God for the people. So God pronounces judgment against the fallen watchers and their children. I, Enoch, was blessed in the great Lord and King of peace, and behold, the watchers called me Enoch the scribe. Then the Lord said to me, Enoch, scribe of righteousness, go tell the watchers of heaven, who have deserted the lofty sky, and their holy everlasting station, have polluted themselves with women. Jude talks about the angels that left their first estate. It seems to be alluding to what it says here, right? And have done as the sons of men do by taking for themselves wives, and have greatly corrupted the earth. That on the earth they shall never obtain peace or remission of sin, for they shall not rejoice in their offspring. They shall behold the slaughter of their beloved. Great shall be the lament to the destruction of their sons, and shall petition forever, but they shall not obtain mercy or peace. Uriel was sent by God to tell Noah of the coming cataclysm and what he needs to do. Then the Most High, the Holy and Great One, sent Uriel to the son of Lamech, and said to him, go to Noah and tell him, hide thyself, and reveal to him the end that is approaching, that the whole earth will be destroyed, and deluge is about to come upon the whole earth, and destroy all that is on it. And now instruct him that he may escape, and his seed may be preserved for all the generation of the world. So you have two, the ringleaders, the fallen angels. One is Samyaza, the other is Azazel. The Lord said to Raphael, bind Azazel hand and foot, and cast him into the darkness, and make an opening in the desert, which is called Dunamel, which is Tartarus, or God's Kel, crucible, cauldron, and cast him therein. It's very interesting. He's associated with the desert. The scapegoat, according to the Torah, was sent to Azazel. And place him on the rough and jagged rocks, and cover him with darkness, and let him abide there forever, and cover his face that he may not see the light. That the day of the great judgment he shall be cast on the day of fire. That on the great day of judgment he shall be cast into the fire. Now notice when Jesus is casting out demons, it's like, are you going to punish us or before our time? So there's appointed a judgment for the fallen angels and the Nephilim. And heal the earth which the angels have corrupted, and proclaim the healing of the earth, that they may heal the plague, that all the children may not perish, and all the secret things that the watchers have disclosed to them and taught their sons. The whole earth has been corrupted through the works taught by Azazel. To him ascribe all sin. So this is, the fallen angels come down and they actually instruct people in warfare, different arts. Some of them seem, but it's corrupt. Some, just different things. It all describes it in the book of making shields, making makeup, reading the stars, stuff like that. Medicinal arts. It's like some of them don't necessarily seem bad, but how they were taught and introduced these things corrupted mankind, according to the Book of Enoch. And Gabriel said to the Lord, and God gave Gabriel instruction concerning the Nephilim and the imprisonment of the fallen angels. And Gabriel said to the Lord, proceed against the biters and reprobates, against the children of fornication, and destroy the children of fornication, and all the children of watchers from amongst men. Cause them to go forth, and set them against the other, they may destroy each other in battle. Some, including R.H. Charles, suggest that biters should be read as bastards. The name is so unusual that some believe that the implication made by reading biters is more or less correct. The Lord commands Michael to bind the fallen angels. In the Bible, there are, we got archangels, we got Gabriel, and we have Michael. Now, in the Catholic Bible, we also have Raphael, but we have Uriel. But the Book of Enoch names all 7 of the archangels, and I think the book of Revelation talks about the 7 spirits that stand before God. That's probably referring to the archangels. And the Lord said to Michael, "Go bind Semyaza and his associates who have united themselves with women, and so have defiled themselves with them and all their uncleanliness. And when their sons have slain one another, and they have seen the destruction of their beloved ones, bind them fast for 70 generations in the valleys of the earth, until the day of judgment and their consummation. For the judgment that is coming forever and ever is consummated. In those days they shall be let off the abyss of fire." Right? Remember the demons Jesus cast out. Are you going to send us to the abyss before our time? "And the torment into the prison which they shall be confined forever. And whosoever shall be condemned and destroyed with them, henceforth shall be bound together to the ends of all generation." 2 Peter, alluding to the Book of Enoch, describes the angels that sinned as being condemned to Tartarus. In Greek, Tartarus is the deep abyss that was used as a dungeon of torment, a place of suffering for the wicked, and as a place of prison for the Titans. You have this idea the Titans are like the elder gods. So you have the Olympian gods that fought against the Titans, the primordial, kind of monstrous gods. The Olympians are kind of more refined and sophisticated, more evolved, and they fight against the Titans. And very similar, we see this myth in Gilgamesh, as I mentioned earlier, is mentioned among the, it's not one of the name of the Nephilim, according to the Book of Giants. But we have, I think there's a lot of similarities with Anuna Elish, the Babylonian creation story, where you have Tiamat, and in that story it's Murdoch. Murdoch plays the role of Zeus. What does Zeus do? He castrates and exiles his own father, and defeats his father, and defeats the elder gods. So anyway, that's the old myth. So when the Olympians defeated the Titans, they condemned them to Tartarus. In like manner, these fallen angels are condemned to Tartarus. And this is the language used in 2 Peter. In Greek, Tartarus is the deep abyss, which is used as a dungeon of torment and suffering for the wicked, and as a prison for the Titans. Tartarus is a place where, according to Plato's Gorgias, written around 400 BC, souls are judged after death where the wicked receive divine punishment. I think it was Plato's Republic. I read some of Plato's work, and if you study philosophy, of course, it's like everything is two founders. You can read the pre-Socratic philosophers. When you first hear what the pre-Socratic philosophers were saying, it sounds, or the questions they're tackling, it seems kind of asinine, actually, but then you look at, they're really starting to think profound thoughts, and have to understand what they're saying, and the crude ways in which they're saying it, but they're really starting to wrestle with heavy ideas. And then you have Plato, and Plato has he's perverse, but he's also profound. It's a mixed bag. There's things I have to say that, well, Plato is right about certain things, but there's certain things that are very twisted. So he had this story, I think it was the End of the Republic, it could have been one of his other books, it's been a while since I read it. But it's about these people in hell, you know. And what happens is these people, they die and their soul's plunged in hell, and I guess you go in the deepest, or wherever you deserve, a deeper pit, and your soul slowly comes up, and then you're released from hell and you're reincarnated again. Except for the wicked, except for, you know, people murder their parents, and, you know, maniacs, depraved people. According to Plato, these people crawl out of hell, you know, going through, I guess, all the circles, and then because they did it so wicked, there's an angel there, or a demon, that kicks them back into the deepest pit of hell again. Until, I guess, again and again and again, until they're reincarnated eventually after suffering. Or maybe they'll suffer eternally. So Plato talks about, you believe in reincarnation, which is not just a Hindu idea, it's a pagan Greek idea, an idea that Plato held to, what they call the transmigration of souls. And it's referred to in the Bible, actually. I don't think the Bible teaches reincarnation per se, but if you think about it, who do men say that you are? Well, you're Jeremiah. You're, you know, one of the other prophets. Well, you know, the prophets were in tombs. Jeremiah's dead. So apparently some people believe that Jesus was a reincarnation of Jeremiah or one of the other prophets. That's what they thought. And even in Hasidic Judaism today, I remember, this is a while back, probably over 20 years ago, And there's a Hasidic rabbi, like Kabbalists, they believe in reincarnation. I mean, like I said, as evangelical Christians, we think it's like a pagan concept, but you have these Hasidic Jews that believe in it. And it's funny, you read some Jewish mysticism, and you're like, it's like, some rabbi read Plato. Whoever wrote this is familiar with Plato, but they don't attribute their beliefs or ideas to Plato, which they obviously read. They just make it seem like it's, things Moses taught in secret, whatever. So Plato's very interesting, with some of his ideas. What this rabbi said was, he said, well, maybe some of the Jews that died in the Holocaust were suffering, they're atoning for their sins from previous lives, and people are outraged by that. It's like, and this rabbi, and he's talking about his fellow Jews, and well, I didn't say that, Hitler was right to do that. I mean, he still offended people deeply. He said, I didn't say they deserved it or Hitler was to do that. I'm just saying that, that's really reincarnation. That's why Buddha came up with Buddhism, because you're atoning for sins of your past life while you're creating new sins. So it's like a vicious cycle, you can't escape. So Buddha came up with the middle way. So it's interesting. So that just shows, I remember all that controversy. It's like, well, that shows Kabbalistic Hasidic rabbis believe in reincarnation. At least some of them do. I don't know if I don't know if the Jews, the Sadducees, didn't believe in an afterlife at all. So there's a variety of beliefs among Judaism in the time of Jesus, and even today, as we see. So it's very interesting. So the fall of the Watchers and the Nephilim seems to be distinct from the fall of Satan or Lucifer and his angels. Satan and his demons are not yet condemned to hell. It's also believed in certain schools of Judaism that demons are the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim. Next, I want to talk about which I'll do in the next lesson, the Son of Man prophecies. So here's the idea, and of course you have to believe whatever you want. We have the angels that send the Book of Enoch. What happens? You have Samyaza, you have Azazel, and like 200 fallen angels that, sons of God as they are, they behold the daughters of men, they take wives, they procreate with them. Just kind of, how does that happen? The New Testament would by heart, he talks about that, which I'll discuss later, but this is the story. I'm not saying it's true or right or wrong, I'm just saying it's the story. So there's souls, they're these the Nephilim's children, they become demons. They're souls. They're not allowed to go to heaven or hell. They're a special, they're demons, but they'll be cast in the abyss. There's no point in time of judgment for them. So then, what's the traditional understanding of Satan? Traditional understanding is that Satan is stood before the throne of God. He's like a guardian angel, a guardian cherub. And he becomes prideful, and he decides to overthrow God. Of course, these traditional ideas are found in actually the writings of Origen of Alexandria, but also, of course, Milton in Paradise Lost. So then he's cast down, he and a third of the angels in heaven that he took with him. So the idea among Christians is that Satan is cast out of heaven, and his demons. Now, whereas the demons were angels that sinned with or rebelled against God with Satan. Now, apparently some people believe that, that Azazel and Samyaza, that Satan was one of the angels with them. But here we have two distinct stories of fallen angels. Now, the angels that sinned, they're condemned to hell already. The Bible has Satan as kind of a prosecuting attorney of mankind, as we see in the gospel. We see this in the book of Job. And the Bible says, Satan's like a roaring lion seeking not may devour. He's not confined to hell yet. These things, like I said, people haven't really thought about them too much, but that's the traditional understanding is that, and like I said, the only overt description of the fall of Satan is the red dragon and his tail taking a third of the angels. But then some people say, well, this is the same thing that Enoch was talking about. These, a third of the angels are those that went with Semyaz and Azazel. But it seems like two different. It's possible both are true, right? You have the fall of Satan and his angels, but then you have a different event, the fall of Samyaz, Azazel, and their angels, if you will, the other fellow watchers among those that fell, and their children, the Nephilim. So it's very interesting. This is from the Book of Enoch. Like I said, these are heavy concepts. You got to ponder, can come to your own conclusions about that. The next section, I'm going to talk about the Son of Man prophecy. I'll include this time. Now, as I mentioned here in this booklet, There are 7 books of Enoch, is how, as I count it. We have the Book of Watchers, the Book of Giants, which is preserved in one of the Dead Sea Scrolls and the Turfan Scrolls. So this is not, if you get the Ethiopic Book of Enoch, it's not going to have the Book of Giants in it, but you can find the Book of Giants at other places, since it was found in one of the Dead Sea Scrolls and one of the Turfan Scrolls. And then we have the Book of the Similitudes of Enoch, also called the Parables of Enoch, where you get the Son of Man prophecies. Then we have the Book of the Heavenly Luminaries. This is called the Astronomical Book. It's about calendars and stuff like that. Then we have the Book of Dream Visions, and it's kind of like a parabolic retelling of the story of Israel's history from creation to the time of the Maccabees. And then we have the Epistle of Enoch, and then a fragment of the Book of Jonah. Sorry, not the Book of Jonah, I mean the Book of Noah. The Book of Noah. And some scholars believe that there's parts of the Book of Noah are preserved in the Book of Enoch. That it's a distinct work that was incorporated. I want to mention in passing that there is Second Enoch, preserved in Old Church Slavonic, but now they found fragments in Coptic just recently. And then there's Third Enoch, which is a much later work, and which represents Jewish mystical exploration, I guess, ideas of meditation. But this has the figure that the Third Enoch is it's not even its proper title, but it's about the translation of the Metatron, how Enoch became a angelic being. Third Enoch is related to Merkabah, or chariot mysticism. This is a part of the Jewish transcendental practices. So we have this book is like speculation and exploration of ideas about Jewish meditation and Enoch as a transfigured being and his new identity as the Metatron. And I was looking at some commentary about Third Enoch, and it's like in its original form, it's celebrating Enoch as the Metatron, and somebody added some text to diminish Enoch's importance. But it's interesting that even today, the Jewish people did not preserve the Book of Enoch, but it seems like it is passed on eventually, at least orally, in a lot of these traditions, which are condemned by some rabbis. Like the movie, the Aronofsky movie, Noah. It's got, people look at that and say, some weird stuff, and where did you get that from? We got that from Jewish Midrash, which is derived from the Book of Enoch. So join us for our next program as we continue to look at the Lost Scrolls of Enoch. And this is Bingo. Bingo says, bye-bye, and we'll catch you soon.